The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
This is Emma, and I'm here with Anna Ahrens, and you're listening to the Alpha Sessions. Hi Anna, welcome to the studio.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming back. You've been mega busy since you were last on the show, so we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's start with your brand new single.
Yeah.
Which is called Words. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about
that. So it's hard to say without going into the full story, because it's quite
you can go into the full story if you want.
I know, well, it's quite a personal story, so I don't know that I want to go into all of it, but in kind of like a Amy Winehouse inspired vibe, I've taken something quite like personal and emotional and put like a funk to it.
Okay.
But like ultimately, it's about verbal abuse and kind of how if you know someone who is narcissistic, they can manipulate a situation so much that it can really, really affect you. And so the inspiration for the chorus lyrics were actually words that the person I know actually said to me, when they were, because it was an argument or whatever, and they were like, well, what have I actually done wrong? And I said, well, you've said this, and they were just like, oh, well, I haven't stolen from you, I haven't hurt you, as if that was okay, and it's kind of like, it's like, oh, sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But it's like the opposite of that. It's like sometimes, when someone can manipulate a situation so much, and
the words do hurt you.
Yeah, and like, and it's just bullying, and just when it's just escalates as well, and it's just, just unfortunately, situation I experienced just became like so big that it's been really therapeutic actually to kind of put it into a song and make it quite funky.
I feel like putting that sort of experience into a song is kind of like saying in your face, like, I've turned this into a positive. Yeah. This is a thing now.
Definitely.
Like, you can't make me feel that way.
Yeah.
And I think it can be really powerful.
I hope so, yeah. And the thing is, I think, I don't know how, I think any songwriter quite hopes that people will be able to relate to their songs, but the thing with verbal abuse is that probably so many people experience it, but like the abuser is very clever, and sometimes you don't even realize that that's what's happening, and until there's just a point where you're so frustrated because like nothing you can do, nothing you can say back, nothing you can do is ever, because they've always got an answer, and and in the end you lose. You end up affecting your mental health because of this person. But the best thing anyone could do is to kind of not retaliate to anyone that's trying to bully you and trying to push your buttons. You just have to like not let it happen. I mean, it's easier said than done, but or write a song.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. It's obviously deeply personal to you, and I think it's mega brave to be able to sit here in front of a couple of microphones and share it. So thank you very much. You've also got a brand new EP coming out soon.
Yes, I hope so. At some point.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Where are you up to? What can we expect from it?
So I think I talked about it last time, the idea for it, and the idea is coming together. So it's going to be called Her, which is a song I think I sang last time, which is going to include the song Her, which is about my sister. And I kind of like the idea of making my EP a project. So all my songs are about kind of female people in my life. And also my sister's going to be doing the artwork for each song. So she's already...
That's really cool.
She's done one for Words, and I really love the image. Because it's quite striking. And yes, so... You got Her about my sister, and then Words is about someone that I've known, and then there's another song, Since You Went Away, which is about my late grandmother, which I think I told you about last time. I had an inspiration for the song from Amy Winehouse's October song, because how she uses Lullaby of Birdland, and yeah, so kind of when I spoke to you last time, I just heard some old recordings of my late grandmother singing, and one of the songs was Passing Strangers by Sarah Vaughan, and it was just so amazing to hear. And I remember saying to you, like, oh, I've had this idea that we're gonna make our own song out of it, but I don't know if it's gonna happen, but it has happened. And,
amazing.
And
love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it was nice doing that acoustic version, but the built-up track, there's lots of layers to it, and it's really nice. And
I can't wait to hear it.
The best thing is that you'll hear my grandmother on it as well. So that's really
so
exciting.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The power of recording can do that.
I know. As soon as I never met her, it's pretty cool that she'll be on one of my records.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So how many tracks has it got? 3 or 4? 3.
Well, it should have 4, because there's another song that is going to be, I think we're calling it interlude, because it's going to be quite instrumental.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have many lyrics, and it's about anxiety, so it still fits with her, because it's about me, but like the kind of not alter ego, but like I kind of see my anxiety as like not a separate, I don't know, I don't say words very well sometimes,
almost like an alter ego, I guess.
But so it's like I feel like I'm say her to it, because it's part of me, but something I can refer to in second person, but yeah, so that one is still like being developed, because it's going to be quite instrumental. So yeah, I'm really excited for when it's all going to come together and I can finally release it.
It seems we're passing strangers now. Funny how things can change. We were so inseparable. Now you're acting very strange. Since you went away, you left him and he was by himself. Then you soon found somebody else. 'Cause you went away, he did not want to lose another, holding on to what he could. While you've been away, they made sure you are still here. Though I never knew you, they made sure. We were never strangers, no. You were always part of me. Funny how we never met, but you're always there for me. Since you went away, he became someone different, becoming more like she, someone new. Now he's gone away, what is left but she he left behind. Why do you ever have to go? We were never strangers, no. You were always part of me. Funny how we never met, but you're always there for me.
Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
You're talking about her and I guess the thoughts that are going on in your head within these records. But obviously you're talking about it in third person. Is that to kind of distance yourself from it? Or is that unintentional?
No, I mean, I guess I was just explaining how it fits in with my EP being called Her, because even though it's about anxiety, it's a part of me, but you know, it's something that you kind of have to control. It's not an alter ego. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a part of my mind that I've had to really learn how to control and how to recognize that when there's these anxious thoughts coming on, that I have to, you know, I have to really try hard to recognize that it's an anxious thought. And but the song is actually expressing the moments where you feel like you can't escape it, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming. And that's why I thought, actually, lyrically it's really simple, and I'm mainly a lyricist, but you know, working with a great band like I've got now, I was really interested to make that into an instrumental song, because that will really illustrate, hopefully, you know, how anxiety can feel when it becomes quite overwhelming. So yeah.
I hope it's okay that I ask you the next question.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, your songwriting, do you find that as an outlet for your anxiety?
Yeah. I, like I say, I'm a lyricist because I find writing really therapeutic. Whenever I've got something in my head, I'll write either a letter or a poem, lyrics, because it helps me get it out of my head. It helps if I write it eloquently, like in a letter or whatever, it makes me feel like I'm making sense of, because when it's in your head, it's all mushed together and you just feel stressed. So yeah, and so that will happen quite a lot. I'll just write things down. So then to see actually some of those actually turn into a song that I'm proud of is really rewarding, because you think, I've had this horrible experience because of anxiety or other stresses, and now I can celebrate you know, coming through the other side because I've got this song and everything else.
The reason why I ask is because obviously we're a new music show, but we also are primarily based in Hospital Radio Studio, and there's going to be a number of patients listening to this who can relate to your anxiety. They've maybe recovered from operations, and sometimes being alone in that hospital bed can fuel anxiety. So hearing someone else who uses music to put anxiety in that outlet is really, really important.
Yeah. I mean, I know not everyone might be able to or want to write a song, but I definitely encourage writing things down, and just like saying things out loud just helps get things out your head. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. You going back to the EP though, we kind of digressed,
yes.
Didn't we, a little bit? This is a question that I personally am quite curious about, because obviously recording tracks and working with a producer on the EP, there's obviously, I imagine, a certain tone that you want or you're expecting the release to sound like, and I imagine you going into a studio. I'm not a musician, so this is totally in my head, totally imagined. But I imagine the artist goes into the studio, meets up with the producer and goes, hey, I've got this song, I really want it to sound like this, can you help me? Possibly here's a demo, but possibly here not, I'm just going to play it for you live. I imagine when you've got that song and it's perfect in your head and perfect when you play it, there's a level of perfection that comes out. And at what point do you kind of, after all the tinkering, that's not the technical term I imagine, do you kind of say, right, we've got to stop now, we have to show this to the world? Like, how long do you tinker for, and at what point do you kind of say, look, enough with the perfection, like we need to stop tinkering, like this is it now, we can't mess about with it anymore?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm really lucky because my producer is my drummer. I've got a really lovely band. You know, obviously I wrote those songs with Mem and Will, because he's my drummer, but he also plays keys, so he can write songs, produce it. So I'm really lucky that I can. And the thing is, because I am predominantly a lyricist, I can play guitar, so I can write a few chords, but I can't make a finished piece. So for me, their input is really important. So I will come with a kind of half-finished idea and kind of rely on them to kind of help me make it that is. But I think with words, it just I did have an idea of what I wanted it to sound like, but I think everyone really felt the vibe of it, and there wasn't too much tinkering. But I do remember when we were doing Life, because there were so many harmonies, and like I'd never heard it that way that Will heard it when he introduced all these harmonies, and I remember we put so many in at first, and I was a bit worried it sounds like two musical theatre, and I remember going backwards and forwards, and when you do sign off, you are still a bit like, oh, is there more that we could do? But you kind of, but the good thing to do is maybe play it to a friend or so, like before you release it, just to kind of get some opinions. But yeah, I don't know. I think just when you know it's done is when you can listen to it and just think, yeah, I like that. There's not, because otherwise you'll be like, oh, actually I'm not sure about this bit. So I think when there's no doubts, it's done.
What's it gonna be? 'Cause I can't pretend. No, don't you wanna be more than friends? Hold me tight and don't let go. Don't let go. Have the right to lose control. Don't let go. I often tell myself that we could be more than just friends. I think that if you move too soon, it would all end. I live in misery when you're not around. I won't be satisfied until we're taking those vows. There'll be some love making, heartbreaking, soul shaking, love making, heartbreaking, soul shaking. What's it gonna be? 'Cause I can't pretend. No, don't you wanna be more than friends? Hold me tight and don't let go. Don't let go. Have the right to lose control. Don't let go. I often fantasize the stars above are watching you. I think they know my heart and think of yours like lovers do. If I could wear your clothes, I'd pretend I was you and lose control. What's it gonna be? 'Cause I can't pretend. No, you wanna be more than friends. Hold me tight and don't let go. Don't let go. Have the right to lose control. Don't let go. Running in and out of life has got me so confused. Gotta make the sacrifice. Somebody's gotta lose. We can make it if we try. For the sake of you and I, together we can make it right. What's it gonna be? 'Cause I can't pretend. No, don't you wanna be more than friends? Hold me tight and don't let go. Don't let go. Have the right to lose control. Don't let go. Don't let go.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
When you were here last time, the idea of a DP was kind of like a pie in the sky idea that you knew was going to happen, but you weren't sure necessarily like the timeline of it and how it was going to happen. And it's been like pretty full on for you in terms of putting the EP together, but also having to work full time alongside it. Tell us a little bit about that and how that's affected you.
So when we kind of thought about doing the EP, we wanted to give ourselves a deadline of the summer, because in my head I thought if I've got a deadline, that will make sure it gets done.
Right.
But working full time, which is a must in today's society, really, you know, especially if I want to live independently, you know, obviously things didn't go to plan, and there was no point in rushing it, because I'm so proud of these songs that there didn't seem point in just like, oh, quick, let's just get this done so it can be released. So we just, you know, rethought, and which is why we're going to release Words as a single, so that we can make sure all the other songs are perfect, and then when everything's done, we can plan the release.
I like it, a smokescreen tactic.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess I think because I work full time, and the boys all have loads of other projects as well. That's, I guess, how comes it's taken so long. I don't know.
But even like now, like you've been doing it for however long you've been doing it for. How do you find the time? Because they're both so full on.
Well, it's weekends really, and I mean I'm super organised, which helps. So, you know, as soon as something comes in my head, like, oh, we need to do this, I'll just message the bands, like, oh, who's free for a rehearsal or for a recording session, you know, and I'll try and book some dates in. But it is all weekends, and when you're working 5 days a week and then you're using like a day as a weekend to do, so that even though obviously I love my singing, it's still kind of a hard work, because you've got like, you go there and do this, and you can't just relax at the weekend. So I mean, I like my job, and it's just, but it's hard when you think, oh, you know, because I could, you know, move in with my parents and give up my job and just like go busking like I did when I was younger, and just put all my effort into my singing. But even then, realistically, the way you'd make money full time as a singer is doing covers gigs at weddings, which is great, and I do hope to get more of that, because ultimately, if you're being paid to sing, that's great, because it's what you love doing. But yeah, I think, you know, I'm in my late 20s now. I want to live independently. There's choices I make, and I choose to do my singing as well as working, so, and just manage it as best I can. And there's no real kind of I mean, obviously I'd love for more people to hear my songs, but I'm not like super desperate to be famous or anything, and I think I guess that's why I'm never full on with like that, oh, I have to put everything into my singing, because I'm like, you know, I'm doing it and it's great, but I'll go at this speed because that's what I can do. I don't know, am I making sense?
Yeah, no, you totally are. And it does, it makes so much sense. And I think it's really interesting to have for listeners to have an insight into a real life musician, and what it really is like day to day, not just kind of like the fame and the glamour and whatever else comes with it. You've also done loads of gigs recently. Again, how do you find the time? I have no idea. But anyways, and you still are very much doing the kind of Amy Winehouse tribute thing. What does Amy mean to you? Like, what's your connection? Tell me a bit about that.
Well, I relate to her a lot as kind of, you know, a Jewish girl from North London with, you know, a really close family. Obviously, we've got different troubles, but just the way that for her writing, her songwriting was an outlet for her mental health, and all her songs were personal to her. And, you know, I don't pretend I'm at the level that she was with her songwriting, but I couldn't, if you said write a song about a computer, I couldn't force it. To me, it wouldn't sound good.
Comes naturally.
Yeah, and I know that she had that same that same feeling. So I relate to her a lot, and kind of since I've been doing my tribute shows, I've got to know her music more and more, and obviously watched the film, read the book that her mum wrote. And
have you got a favourite Amy Winehouse track? Really difficult question.
Yeah, I think you asked me that last time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love October Song, which I think I covered last time, but I don't know if What Is It About Men is a really good one from Frank. Oh yeah, it's too hard. I mean, Some Unholy War from Black to Black. I mean, just like in Some Unholy War, she says something about you reading my will, and it's just so haunting now when you listen to it. And yeah, it's too much of a tough question.
Fair enough. Obviously, Amy's a massive inspiration to you. Who else would you say you were inspired by?
I don't know. I mean, she's probably the main artist I can feel a direct inspiration through. But my parents are really into music growing up. I mean, this Stevie Wonder t-shirt is from the actual tour that my mum and dad went to.
That's really cool.
And they went to Live Aid as well. We've got that t-shirt. So yeah, Freddie Mercury, Queen, and Joni Mitchell, which my mum loved. And so I was brought up on listening to great music.
Always helps.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they refused to play like nursery rhyme tapes when we were little, but I'm really grateful for it, because it meant that, you know, my earliest memories of the music we listened to were all these great bands from the 80s and 90s, and I guess maybe that has had an influence, and I guess I'm lucky as well. I've got a singing voice that apparently has come from my late grandmother, so just all of that mixed together. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
No, thank you for having me.
If we want to find out more about you and obviously track your upcoming EP, and be the first to listen to it, where can we go? What can we do?
So Instagram is probably where I post most of my updates, and that's Anna Sings, but it's ANNAAA _sings. Or
think about that for a minute.
because it's like Anna Aarons, but Anna. And then
Anna, love that basically.
Or otherwise Anna Aarons Music on Facebook. Or
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming back to the studio, and we can't wait to hear that finished EP.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I can't wait for you to hear it.
I didn't even say those words. It's only words. What you did wrong, what you deny you did, was use those words. That violate and isolate, manipulate. It's only words. Words, it's only words, not stealing, not violence. I haven't caught you with a blade or taken all that you keep saying. It's only words, she said to me. What have I done wrong? I don't know what you mean. You're a liar. With your words. That violate and isolate, manipulate. It's only words. It's only words, not stealing, not violence. I haven't cut you with a blade or taken all that you keep saying. It's only words, she said to me. You left a wound on me and on all the family. With your words, they'll stay even worse. You're taking all we hold dear.